The next speaker is Honorable Shavambu.
Thank you very much, Chair. So when the Minister delivered the budget speech on the 26th of February 2020, he said, amongst other things, that as a major step towards sustainability, fiscal sustainability, today we announce a net downward adjustment to mean non-interest expenditure of 151.1 billion over the next 3 years relative to the 2019 budget projection. And he further said that this reduction in terms of government expenditure will apply mainly to conditional grants for provinces and municipalities. Specifically, he said that there's going to be a reduction of 14.6 billion in terms of the human settlements budget in the medium-term expenditure framework, which could have provided more than 100,000 houses. A 2.6 billion reduction in the municipal infrastructure grant, which is happening despite the huge infrastructure backlog in municipalities. A 13.2 billion reduction in the transport spending, mainly PRASA. And PRASA is mostly servicing working class and poor households and workers. And it also includes the reduction and actually suspension of the expenditure which was supposed to happen in the integrated public transport networks in Buffalo City, Mbombela, and Msundisi municipality. There's also a cut in terms of education infrastructure, which has been reduced by 5.2 billion, meaning that the mud schools, the pit latrine toilets, are not going to be eradicated in the foreseeable future. That there's also a cut in terms of healthcare services of 3.9 billion, which is happening amidst a pandemic that is threatening the whole world, corona. And there's a cut in terms of the expenditure in the MTEF on public expenditure. And also there's a proposed expenditure cut in terms of the wage bill of 160 billion. Now, in basic economic dictum and understanding, all these reductions amount to an austerity measure. Anyone who denies that what was presented here is an austerity measure is either a fool or disingenuous or both. Because what we have here is an austerity budget. And the Budget Justice Coalition correctly identified this when they made the submission to the Standing Committee on Finance, that this is a policy framework that is defined by government spending which is not increasing in line with sectoral cost drivers or the CPI. It is defined by regressive tax policies. It is defined by reprioritization of funds away from investments in the public sector. And that is what government has basically presented. Now, the other issue, which is basic logic, is that a reduction in government expenditure deprives the country of an increased GDP. So when government draws back in terms of expenditure of more resources, it is going to have recessionary consequences, meaning that the economy is not going to grow. Unemployment is going to be higher. It means that the revenue base is going to shrink, meaning that the ratio, the debt to GDP ratio is going to increase. So instead of achieving what you think you're going to achieve with a reduction in expenditure, you're going to achieve the opposite in terms of all those issues. And it is basic economic logic. It is not sloganeering as you tried to claim when we debated the budget. I want to call the attention of Dr. David Masondo to a book by Mark Blinth that speaks about austerity called The History of a Very Dangerous Idea. Also go and listen to the former Minister of Greece of Finance, Yanis Varoufakis, who resisted austerity until he was kicked out of office. The austerity measures in Greece were introduced at the same time with Portugal. And Portugal bailed out of the austerity measures and implemented a contrary economic policy model. And the economy of Portugal grew far much faster than the problem and the crisis that Greece was found in due to austerity measures. So to ever think that we can survive the economic crisis that is going to be worsened by the fact that China is disrupting globalization, we are not going to get out of the economic crisis due to your austerity budget. Instead, we are guaranteed to face a recession. Even that 0.9% economic growth is not going to happen with the kind of budget that you have proposed here. There are a few issues that you must have to deal with in terms of some of the low-hanging fruits that can be harvested. One is to change the procurement legislation, not just the public procurement bill that is being proposed now. You should change the MFMA, the PFMA, to insist that all the goods and services that the state procures must be locally manufactured and monitor the value chain. We are currently trying to roll out this poorly conceptualized renewable energy strategy. Why isn't that the solar panels are not being manufactured, all of them here in South Africa? It was going to generate much more economic activity that is going to boost economic growth and development in South Africa. And the other issue that we want to speak to is that African Bank should form the nucleus of the state bank because it has got the infrastructure and the expertise to could be a bank that deals with all of these issues. And then 3 areas that you must maximally collect taxes on. 1 is e-commerce, 2 is the multinational corporations, almost all of whom are involved
Honourable
in
Member,
erosion
your time is
and
now
tax
expired.
avoidance. And then the last component will be the informal traders in villages, townships, and cities. And in that way, you
Honourable
can then deal
Member,
with these things differently.
your
But otherwise, what
time
the
is now
president here
expired.
is absolute no.
The next speaker is the Honourable Thring. Order, honourable members, order.